I just recorded this incredibly long speech about food stamps, and just now realized that I never hit the record button. So the whole thing was basically me sitting here talking to myself. I hate that shit. That was stupid. And now, as a matter of like replaying the whole conversation, that sucks on so many levels. But moving on. Okay, so yesterday, to repeat myself to the void, I saw an article about a congressman or something, some level votable position, who's for this $40 billion cut in food stamps because the Bible told him so, which is ridiculous to me. I go back to the loaves and the fishes. The Bible says to starve people. Okay. Don't get it. Don't buy it for a minute, but whatever. And this thing about food stamps, this is a basic necessity for people. If we start letting people starve, if we take away the finance to put a couple of meals on the table every day, we're no better than a third world country. And that's basically what this argument is starting to turn into. It's okay to let people starve. Republicans, GOP, I've lost my patience completely. I don't even try anymore. I don't even try to have the middle ground conversations anymore because, frankly, completely pointless. Totally pointless. It's so funny that they talk about freedom constantly, and then it goes back to when you start looking at the little nitpick part laws. Everything is about controlling people. They're so scared. They're so afraid. So afraid of women having sex, of just about anything. It drives me nuts. Those people drive me nuts. And then they want to talk about the sanctity of life, but once that baby comes out, fuck health insurance, fuck feeding it. Who cares about putting a roof over its head? Screw all that noise. Not my problem. But then you force the baby on people. You're idiots. And I can't stand it. Okay, now that I vented about that, and there's more. There's so much more. Going back to this jackass who says the Bible is his reason for wanting to take food stamps away from millions of people. Another Republican, by the way. It's wrong. When you look at all the money that's wasted, there are billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars wasted on other things in this country. I read there was $160 billion in fraudulent contracts rebuilding shit that we blew up. Fraudulent contracts are 4 times as high as feeding people at home. That's just waste. That's just waste money. It's not even doing anything. It's being stolen from us. So how about the focus go on to trying to stop some of that from happening? Because then you can afford your $40 billion in food stamps 4 times over. That would make much more sense. Where's the oversight there? Form another committee. You guys are good at committees. Hey, you've done this before. You got this. Try. But anyway, I get mad because there's so many reasons people need that service. If you look at the economy we're in, minimum wage at $7.25. I remember when I worked at Starbucks 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, and I think I was making $45 an hour. Gas was $1. Now, if you take gas is 3 something, to equate that wage to the wage it is now at $7.25, it wouldn't be $70.25. It's closer to $15. These people who are making minimum wage cannot feed themselves and pay rent and a car payment and car insurance and health insurance and all the things that go with it, even down to buying toilet paper and shampoo. Cost of living, not surviving, but thriving, cannot be done on $7.25 an hour. I don't care who you are or who you think you are. People drive me nuts. It all drives me nuts. Coffee break. Okay, so beyond that, you don't know what situation a person is when they come up to the checkout counter and they swipe that EBT card. You know nothing about their situation. I always go back to that. It seems to be a reoccurring theme in these videos. What do you know about the person in line in front of you if you're giving them a dirty look? You know nothing. People who take care of foster kids get the equivalent of a welfare check And they are eligible for food stamps also. And how do you know that's not the people standing in front of you in line? How do you know it's some ignoramus, selfish retard who has no job and must be lazy, just living off the dole? How dare you? How dare you assume? You know? Oh, but she's wearing ratty sweatpants and old t-shirt and kids don't have haircuts. That doesn't mean a damn thing. That doesn't mean anything. You know, I read an article recently about a woman who went through the dirty look thing, a woman behind her in line, and she just had surgery. So she was in sweatpants, brought her college-age daughter with her to help her lift groceries because she couldn't lift bags. A woman behind in line under the breath said something dirty. But this woman was there. This woman who works a professional level job was there because she has a 28-year-old son who's disabled that she was buying food for. How dare the person behind her in line jump to conclusions, is what I say. There's so many things that go on in life. You know, my biggest thing is that when you take this money away from families, at the end of the day, it's basic survival. It's basic survival. And it goes back to, if we take away the basic means of survival and send these people to soup kitchens if they get lucky, and someone starves, if someone starves to death in this country because we refuse to help, no better than a third world country to allow that to happen on this soil. Okay? You can't talk about how wonderful America is and then turn around and starve people? Jesus Christ. Got to be kidding me. The attitudes have to change. They have to change. Well, I'm going to pause. I need to regroup. I'm still pissed about the 15-minute rant that was never recorded. I look like I was sitting here talking to my living room windows. What an idiot. All right. Part B, coming soon to a video near you. This one. Okay, so I remembered the other half of my rant that was lost to neverwhere because I wasn't recording. I have an issue with the attitudes about welfare fraud as well. There are states who have gone through the drug testing programs. They've spent millions and millions and millions of dollars to form committees to decide how this is going to be done. Of course, because you have to have a committee. Oversight, we're good at that. And then you pay people to come in and institute the programs. And everyone's getting their pockets lined. So you can take millions of families and demean them and shame them and make them piss in a cup so they can feed their kids or their grandma or whatever it is. And the thing I find so amazing about that is that I think it was Florida, after drug testing millions and millions of people, I think 2 people tested positive for drugs. And in another state that did it, it was something like 20 out of millions, of people. Talk about a waste of cash. Talk about a waste. The assumption that these people are, basically no better than a bunch of pot smoking losers who refuse to get a life pisses me off. When you look at the percentage of families in America that use EBT services, it floats between 10 and 20%, 12 to 15 usually in there. That's not a small number of families. And those families are not sitting around hitting the bong while their kids are at school, sitting there and watching reruns of Maury. Assholes. People are assholes. Judgmental assholes. And that's, obviously a big issue for me. I've brought it up enough times. Most of those families have jobs. And they're just trying to get by. Goes back to the minimum wage being dick. Fast food jobs, when I was a kid, you'd go in and you'd see a couple little old ladies swiping the tables clean because they were retired and bored and lonely. And everybody else in the kitchen, besides the manager, middle-aged manager, everybody else back there was a fucking teenager. Not anymore. Not anymore. I think I read an article recently where the median age for a fast food employee is now 28 years old. Kids coming out of college that can't find jobs and they're flipping burgers. And it goes back to how do they pay the rent, man? It's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money at all. It's actually peanuts. And, so much more attached to that. All the loans they took out that have to be repaid for school, 4 years of college, 6 years of college, 7, whatever level they got to, and no job. No job. The college thing is another point of issue for me. This big pressure that we put all these children under, that go to college, get a degree, life will be wonderful. So what happens when every kid in America, when you finally get your way, and every kid in America goes to college, gets their 4-year degree, and gets out, where are they going to work? Where are they going to work? Someone's got to pump the freaking gas, okay? So, taking the focus off the big, heavy achievements and demands, and then you preach about 4-year colleges nonstop to these kids, and they can't do it, then they feel like a loser because they couldn't meet the mark. Leave them alone. Lay the hell off, man. Tech school, trade programs in high schools. They have them in other countries, and they're effective. Why is the focus? I don't understand education in the United States. I think the testing crap, No Child Left Behind crap, everything's gone to standardized testing, did more harm than good. I'll always think that. Jaden Smith can shut up. Everyone does not need to drop out of school, but I think it needs to be reformulated to a reasonable standard, that some of these kids are going to flip burgers all their life, because that's what they're capable of. And some people are going to be doctors and lawyers. That's fine. That's what they're capable of. But to put the pressure on, loan money from the government, that's a wonderful idea. Get in debt for a job that will never come. Stupid. But I'm going tangential. Going back to judging people that use these programs, that's an attitude that can be flushed down the toilet as well, because it's rough out there. It's tough. People have been losing homes left and right for years, struggling. You have whole towns. I mean, you can look at the national average for food stamps, but there are counties out there where it's more like 30%, 40%, because you've had factories shut down, shipped off to other countries, and a bunch of homes sitting there with people in them, and there's nowhere to work. They would if they could. All right? So the finger pointing, the judgment, I'm so tired of that crap. I'm so tired of it. We're supposed to be better than this. I mean, maybe we're not supposed to be better than this. We're people. Basically glorified monkeys at the end of the day, if you ask me. And we like to fling poo. It's sad. But I mean, I guess my wish is that, we can be better than this, than the attitudes we have. Every man for himself is a bad idea. I'm not saying we need to go socialist and commie and all these other things, because there's a danger there too. Obviously, that would be a clear and present danger in its own regard. But there's so many broken things, so many things that have there's this precedent put on self first, and the speeches about corporations as people, the making money, making billionaires out of people off the sweat of these people making $7.25 an hour who need to get food stamps, hanging flyers in the break room at Walmart telling employees where to go sign up for food stamps and Medicaid because they can't afford Walmart's insurance because of the wage they get. It has become insane. That 1% argument, all the money going up, it's bad. It's broken. It's a broken system. Some asshole somewhere making $3 billion a year is just as well off making $1 billion a year and paying $15 an hour to his employees and making sure they have medical coverage for themselves and their families. That's the thing. That's what needs to be regulated. People would stop bitching about food stamps if they didn't need to have them to survive in the United States of America. Things cost what they cost. There's no getting around that. Pisses me off. Everything pisses me off. Boy, I get pissy. But it just seems like the lack of common sense out there about these issues. Then the immediate finger pointing. People are not losers, man. Yeah, there's always going to be a percentage of people that are going to pop out babies so they can sit around getting sucking services and getting free money and sit around and hit the bong while they watch Maury while they ship their kids to school. Those people exist. They're always going to exist. You're not going to fix that issue. But it's such a tiny percent. Ding, 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 tiny. that to say, every time you see someone in public swiping that card, to make the jump from it's just a person buying groceries to, oh, loser, idiot, sucking services. That is just so asinine, so judgmental, so stupid, so stupid. I'm just so tired of everybody giving a shit about everybody else's business. Republicans, back to the control issue. Control that's rooted in fear, because that's where control, basically, to me, always has its root. You're not going to, no matter how hard you squeeze, people are going to fight back. It's a difference between a group of people talking about freedom who basically want to control every aspect of our lives versus people who actually understand freedom and want to allow for the actual individual human beings, trusting them to make decisions at the end of the day, trusting people rather than enforcing things to get your way. Have a world look the way you want it to look and function the way you want it to look. Republicans of the world, you're not making any friends in this country with the attitudes you have now and the stunts you're trying to pull. I look at all the crazy, insane things that have come up in the last 6 months, the Republican Party, and to me it's more like a death knell of the party. This weird screaming that keeps popping up means you're going under. If I predict anything, I predict that people are almost done with you because they've figured out you're insane. And you can go back and thank your warmongering leader for that, and his daddy, and the fact that everyone's going broke because you're worried about getting rich instead of making sure that we're all doing okay. So, yeah, please stop. Please stop. The next time you see someone in line in front of you in the grocery store and they're swiping that food stamp card, let it be. Let it be. You don't know their story. You don't know how hard they work. You don't know if they're surviving or thriving. You don't know anything about it. So, again, common theme for me. But love goes back to love. Try to love. Try to come from a place when you look and you stop to think. I had a woman in front of me in line a month ago. 4 little girls. One of them is the same age as my daughter. Standing there helping her mother because mom didn't speak English. And there was piles of commodities, basically, on the belt. And she was using WIC checks, which took forever and a day. I stood there for probably 10 minutes, felt like. And but the thing is, those situations, you can either look and say, another foreigner fence jumper in my country sucking up resources, son of a bitch. Or what I did was look at that situation. Oh my God, hair today. Look at that situation. And I thought to myself, to come to this country, not speaking the language, in the economy that we have now, there's no jobs. And on top of that, to have to care for 4 kids, that's tough. That's a tough human being. That's a scary situation. It's all it did was make me grateful for my life. And even on days where I struggle or things are weird or I'm stressed out, I've got it so easy compared to, having to dig a hole in the middle of an African desert somewhere and shit in it and bury it so the lions don't smell me and come and eat me. I don't fucking know how it works. All I'm saying is no one's taking a machete to me. I'm fortunate to have the life I have. So, just stop and think. Stop and think how wonderful life here can be when a person takes the initiative and really fights and really tries and really works. And to the people who are given the dirty looks, I never wish bad things on a person. But some of you, at some point, are going to find yourselves losing everything. Whether it's a car accident, 3 years of chemo and cancer, something will come along in your life where you're going to need the help of others. You're going to need those services which you detest. And I hope that I can almost guarantee that those moments are eye-openers. It's a pity that people have to suffer to understand suffering instead of having the basic ability to use empathy and try to understand the lives and the suffering and the struggling of other people. But, okay, so I guess this is done. This is going to be my longest video to date. If you add this to what I already said, holy shit. And I don't even know if I said anything worthwhile. Major factor. Leave people alone. They're just trying to butter their bread. All right? Peace. Have a good day. Smile at someone. Smile.